Dial H number 3, written by China Maiville, art by Mateus Santaluco. Last issue ended with Nelson running to the dial. He's met by a mysterious woman who seemingly knows about it, and they're both being hunted by some sort of gang. This issue picks up with the gang fight, where before Nelson can even make it over to the dial, it is shot to bits by the guns of the gang, and he's like, oh geez, it better work, and he runs over and tries spinning it, but it ain't doing nothing. At that point, the mysterious woman jumps in. She transforms into her own hero that has hoses for arms and legs, cause okay, and uses it to shoot water at the guys. She's like, grab the dial, let's go. And she grabs them, and she uses her hoses to fly up into the air. And then the gang makes a call over to XN, who we know is Ex Nihilo, and basically describes the situation like, hey, that lady, her name is Manteau, she just got out, she escaped. And it's like, okay, doesn't matter, where were they? And she's like, they were down in an alley, we gotta go, the cops are coming soon. It's like, wait, first grab the dial. And they're like, oh, they took the dial with them, sorry. And then we see XN talking to, his name is Squid, he's that weird lizard guy from last issue. And they're basically just talking like, okay, well, we have our own mysterious plans that are all shrouded in darkness. Ex Nihilo wants to bring back something about the void. He wants something to exist from nothing. And Squid apparently wants to go home. And they're working together, and that dial is necessary for something. So then we follow over to Nelson and Manteau. They're flying over just straight over to Manteau's house. And she's like, okay, keys underneath the mat. I don't have hands right now, so if you could please let us in. And he's like, wow, that's a cool hero you got going on there. What's her name? The Extinguishnesses? And she's like, no, my name is Manteau. I am not this power set. It does not define me. You need to keep track of your own identity. So at this point, she depowers down and immediately repowers again because she has her own little personal handheld dial. And she's like, yes, this is my own dial. No, it will not work for you while I am using it. Don't panic. I can fix yours. And she's like, you can fix, okay, here you go, cool. And then she starts talking about the history of the telephone. She talks about different people who worked on long distance telecommunications and stuff like that. Edison, Graham Bell, a couple other names I don't recognize. And apparently in their secret diaries, they all talked about a meeting with a man named O. And they always shared ideas with O, and O shared ideas with them. And whatever came out of it, O always left them with enough of an idea to come up with some brand new thing in telecommunications. But it seems like he was looking for something of his own, and it all comes back down to this dial. Whatever this dial is, it predates all of them. So she's like, oh, well, okay, please tell me more about this dial. Tell me everything. I want to know how it works. I want to know what's up. And Manteau's like, okay, but real quick, tell me, what was your biggest fight you've been in? And immediately Nelson goes off of well, that would be when I fought the Rake Dragon along with the other members of Team House, and I was Boy Chimney, and we went down and we fought against them and turned the tables. And then he just starts talking more and more, and he finally freaks himself out, and he's like, what was that? I didn't do that. That wasn't me. He's like, yeah, no, Boy Chimney, your persona that you transformed into, he was the one who had that memory. He was the one who is living inside you. You need to be able to keep track of who you are. So she introduces herself. She's like, that's why I wear this mask, why I wear this cloak. It reminds me that every time I look at myself, no matter what, I'm still Manteau. That's who I am. I'm not Boy Chimney. I'm not Extinguishes. I am Manteau. And so she introduces herself, and then Nelson just goes, I'm Nelson. So then we meet back over with XN and Squid. They finally figure out, apparently, I'm just going to tell you the Cliff Notes version of this because it goes in way deeper. So apparently there's this thing that happens, possibly with the dial, possibly separate from it, where people who see it are primed to become portals for this darkness. That granny in the first issue who spewed out the darkness, she was a portal for this darkness, this abyss. However, if you actually, it relies on just knowing about it. If you know about it, you're primed to be a portal. However, seeing it leaves you to be actually too unstable, and therefore if you see it and you're unstable, you can't really share it with anybody so that they know about it. But eventually, XN and Squid track down this guy who has heard about it, and he was in close proximity to something that was related to it, so he is aware of it, but he never actually saw it. So therefore he is primed as a portal to this darkness. So they are on their way out. They pose as some sort of federal agents who are there to help him with his brother, who I think the brother was the one who was involved in this thing. And they, as soon as they find him, they just kick down his door and start running like tests and stuff on him, being like, you are it. You're the one we need. What they're doing, I will reveal in the end. But yeah, it's a thing. So then we get back to Nelson, who's apparently at the gym. He's trying to get more fit. He gets a call from Manto that it's been it's been a couple days. She thinks maybe that she fixed the dial by now. And Manto reveals that she is a telephone engineer, and she keeps red flags on the entire telecommunication network in order to find anybody that comes to basically their town in Oklahoma, because this is like a hot spot for like dial activity. Whatever is going on, it's here. And so they come across the same guy. His name is Mr. King. And it's like, I picked up a telephone communication that he was on when these people bust into his house and started doing stuff to him. And they said something about the dial. So clearly this is about him. So then she hands over the dial to Nelson, says like, look, I don't know exactly how these things work. I managed to fix one once, but I think I got lucky. We got to try it with yours. And he spins the dial and he transforms into something. But when he does so, it's very brief, very temporary. And when he does, he sees this weird shadowy figure blinded in light. And he's like, okay, you saw that thing? That's called the shadow on the line. And it's something, it's what XN, it's what Squid, it's what all of this is connected to. That's why the dial is necessary for them. So we got to go and we got to take care of that. You need to use the dial, despite the fact that it's not fixed yet, because it's just required in order to fight these guys. So he spins the dial and he turns into a female hero named Baroness Resin. To which there's a whole page here of just like him freaking out. It's like, well, clearly you didn't fix it well enough. I'm a woman. And she's like, really? You have you transformed into a human spring yet? Have you transformed into an actual boomerang? Like now you're upset because you got a pair of ovaries? Deal with it. This is how it works sometimes. Woman up. She actually says that. So anyway, we finally see what was going on with Mr. King, and she explains more of the story of like why he's important. And then our two heroes show up and they start unleashing the fight, but it's too late. They're already doing whatever they need to with Mr. King, and it turns out that within the void there is a creature, and it's the creature that they saw, the shadow on the line, and it is called Abyss. And Abyss comes out of Nelson, and he is his own formed creature, and clearly it's not good. Whatever is happening, this is not a good thing. So that's where it ends. This is the first issue I feel like I understood the beats. Like there's always been some point that's lost me before along the way, and this one like very got close. But the more I like read closely and made sure I was understanding, I finally understood like, okay, they're explaining the things, what the villains want, what the heroes know, the powers themselves, where they came from. This is the explanation part, and I am very grateful for it. I think it is very well thought out, and it has this much overarching story of like, it's essentially there's like a mimetic virus of if you know about it, you have it. And it's a very interesting concept to deal with. And there's this creature who is literally of nothingness. So no, overall, very cool concepts. The art, fantastic. I like the idea of identity as well. It's got playing with a lot of cool concepts, and I really do enjoy it. I'm going to give this one an 8. A lot of that comes down to the fact that I did actually understand it all. I'm not going to lie on that, but it is still very well told, and I like the themes they're playing with. So I can't wait to see how we continue from here.